What's up, guys? Hades here. We had IB League second week, and I had a pretty intense matchup here, SF versus GN. I want to go over this and highlight all the things my opponent did really well. This is a team I didn't really have on my radar as a contending team, but man, they really did a great job. They had great builds, they played well, and I want to spotlight them because I think they did a great job. So in the bottom lane, um, just some safe relocations. We saw this early. Called not to go there. Same thing in the top. Pretty neutral. Their relocations are a bit sloppy. You can see these two in the third row are quite far away, and they're missing this very clear and obvious spot here. Just little things for them to fix in the future. And in the middle, they just ditched it. I think this is probably their biggest mistake. Just giving us middle for free isn't ideal. Now, the benefit is they have all of our middle players doing nothing, right? And we have 9 players essentially doing nothing. So, in theory, if they're playing this well, all their extra players should be pressuring us. And man, I felt very pressured here. They had really meta builds. Everything they did was really solid. We had to rally to break. 1v1s were very difficult. You know, they were playing well. And we pretty much lost this position. We just couldn't keep up. Our relocations just weren't quite where they needed to be. And we lost it very early. We kept our top pretty neutral for quite a while though. And again, once the 10 minutes kind of hits and the middle becomes available, we take it for free, and then we're winning just for free. So they have to win both sides to make this worth it mathematically, and that's something that's going to be very challenging for them to do because we are a top team. We are the defending champions, so they're going to have to break us, right? And they're going to have to make it look hard. You can see here that they're pressuring the tower, and like I said, they put us to the test. And yeah, they got the tower here. So they're in a huge position. They're winning 3-1, and we don't have the middle. Actually, I think it's bug. I don't think they got it. Alright, they didn't get this. Not yet. But they're really pressuring it, and they got that down to 3 seconds. I remember in the call yelling, clear tower, putting a marker on it, making sure everyone's on the same page. But you can see the numbers here it's just not in our favor. Because we have so many useless players in the middle, not that they're useless, but like I would say they have no uptime. That means we have less players available to fight other locations, and they have more essentially. So we had to decide how to rotate away from our middle position to support the other ones. And I would say we made a mistake. I think we tried to split to both sides, which was just not working. We should have gone to one and just use one as a neutral site, as just, you know, retrospect. And then we also decided to go backdoor 2v4, which was definitely a mistake. We should not have been here. Nothing about this play is ever going to work, and it was just an error and a miscommunication, right? We spread ourselves thin. We went from slightly behind to just cutting ourselves thin, and that's just never going to work. And I want to fast forward a bit and kind of show the breakpoints in this game, right? Okay, so here's kind of the first breakpoint that happened. We're really just grinding down here in the tower 1, and we just keep pressing until finally we get a break in the defense and just kind of a lapse in time, and just to show that there's 7 here, and then an 8th one comes in. And we've got them down to, I believe, 5. I think this is ours. Yeah, we got them down to 5. So we're +3. And then we go for a tower in the next few moments. And it's this moment that we're finally able to break them. Once you have the tower, they can no longer fight you and the tower, especially with this numbers advantage. And we still own the middle, right? And then the second piece went from our middle, and we had this pronged attack, which I personally didn't like, but what ended up happening is the players at the enemy home were so weak and took so long to deal with them. We brought in reinforcements, and then we just started to press this advantage I TP'd in, and then we just dominated this position. And then we actually hold their home tower for an abnormally long period of time. Now, I don't recommend this. I have been bashing this play for a very long time. I don't like it. The reason I don't like it is look how many players have available, and then they have 5 more available to defend right away, and we can't really stop them. This is not a good play, but given the position we were in, due to the fact that the pressure was relieved in the center for them not pressuring us, we left all our players available to move elsewhere. Now, we're still fighting here in the bottom, and this is just a slow, grindy fight. Everyone can't break each other, so you have to rally. It's really slow. People are defending. Not much prosperity goes away. But these players staying allows us to keep the huge bulk of their players stuck in this position. And just defending and bubbling and reborning and using all the defensive talents lets us stall that out for a very long time. And then over here, we just stall them. We're poking at them, we're breaking them, we're blocking them, and we just stall. And we're going to take this 45-second lead, 45 to 10-second lead for a very long time. So we grinded down Tower 1. That was the first break. And then we were allowed to go to their Tower 2 because they were so slow to react to our slow misplay. I believe it was a misplay, but then because they were unable to break 2 versus 4, it became a foothold that allowed us to rotate from the middle. So those were the 2 big break points in my opinion. And I'm going to show you guys a third one in just a little bit. Okay, here's the third one. The GN players decided they finally broke the bottom and they surrounded it, and they had like 10 players, and what they did was they rotated everyone up to the middle. Now, this is pretty solid, but they had to win faster. This is just too late. They're doing it kind of well, I would say, putting your players on the outskirts, not getting canceled, and then moving into a more aggressive location. The thing is, we just had too many defenders, and they just don't have enough time, right? The score is out of control. They only had about 15 minutes when they did it. So the idea was right. It's just they were on the back foot the whole time, and they needed to beat us faster at this location. Okay, for the last point, I'm going to do kind of a time lapse here at Tower 4. It's very neutral. They have a couple extra players because they don't have anyone in the middle. And I'm just going to do a quick time lapse. I'm going to jump about 1 to 2 minutes at a time. And you're going to see how slow it takes for them to really get rid of everyone. And you can see that their players don't move at all, right? We're very active. We're porting. We're moving up. We're taking advantage. We're staying near the tower. We're staying connected. And they still haven't got us out. And they still haven't got us out. And they're still all here. And they're finally at almost the 40-minute mark, right? They finally break us. So 2/3 of the match is essentially gone. And look how many players have not influenced the map other than this one location. You have to keep in mind, you need 3 towers to get an advantage. Any 3 gives you a numbers advantage. But you can't spend 40 minutes at the same tower with this many players. It's just too many, right? This is 12 players. This is more than 1/3 of their player base stuck at the same tower. They had to win and rotate earlier. This was kind of the third piece that really broke this match. Made it kind of out of reach. 30,000 points in 21 minutes. It's just too big of a gap. And yeah, that kind of showed what happens in these kind of games. I hope you guys learned something. There's a lot to be learned in these kind of matchups. But yeah, they got 50,000 points. And if you look at the scores at the end, it really shows how solid this team was. They pushed us, right? Like, you can see here, if you watched my last video, Vex versus Lions, the winning team had much bigger scores. You can see here, we only have 3 people with 1 million. and they have 4, and this is much significant. You know, like their number 1 is much bigger, and then there's a couple of 800,000s, and we don't have any 800s. So like they actually performed slightly better. Their March was just very solid, but what happened was a breakdown of macro play. Their micro was fine, the macro was a little weak, and I think their rallies were a little bit slow. But all things considered, they really impressed me. I'm gonna keep my eye on GM. They did a very good job, and yeah, hope you guys liked this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.